Hello everyone. So it's been a little while since I've done one of these, just an update video on where I'm at with my Spanish. I thought it'd be a good idea to just share with everyone where I'm at and how I'm feeling about everything at the moment. So I've got a few dot points here on my computer. I'm just going to go through and just express how I feel about each of them. So hope everyone enjoys. So firstly, in terms of my listening and comprehension at the moment, I'm definitely starting to feel more and more comfortable with the language. I know I say that every time I do one of these videos, but I do really think it's the case. Maybe it's like 3 months, I would say, I start to feel like I'm progressing. Obviously, day to day, you don't really feel much, but just thinking of where I'm at now, there's not many videos I'll watch that are native that I just will have no idea what's being said. And I sometimes have to think of not when I first started, but even where I was like 6 months ago or 8 months ago, I would watch something, whether it be a YouTube video or a Netflix show, and I'd just have no clue what they're saying. I'd be completely lost. That never happens anymore. I was going to say very rarely happens, but it just doesn't. I always know I might still miss a word here and there, but I'll always understand the topic. Even if it's a podcast, like a really native podcast where they're using a lot of slang. I've been watching a podcast called Escuela de Nada, which I believe it's like a Venezuelan podcast, and they use a lot of slang. It's just guys having a chat, joking around, and it's probably, for me, it's like the hardest material I think I can consume. I definitely still struggle with it. I struggle to stay engaged because they're speaking very fast. They're joking around. So a lot of stuff I miss, but I still understand the topics they're talking about. So I think that's been really good. As I say, you don't notice much day to day, but when I look back 6 months ago, uh, at when I was consuming Spanish, there was definitely times I'd be watching a video and just have no clue what it's about. So as I said, there's still the odd word that pops up. I'm like, what was that word? But very rarely am I completely lost. So I think that's a good sign. I've been watching these travel vlogs. I think his name on YouTube is Ramia de Aventura. I think I've got that right. And he does travel vlogs in English speaking countries, for instance, like Canada and America, as well as other places. But I was watching one of those vlogs the other day, and he obviously sometimes switches into English because he's in the United States or he's in Canada. And he'll switch to English when he's at like a cafe ordering food and he's filming it. And sometimes I forget that he switched into English because I understand the Spanish so well in my brain. When I used to watch these parts, it used to be like, oh, like I need to skip over this English bit now. Like I can understand this fully. That means it's not good immersion. But now it's kind of like I forget that he switched to English because I understand the Spanish part so well. Probably haven't explained that the best, but hopefully some of you guys can resonate. Do let me know in the comments if you do. But I thought that was pretty cool. Like I was watching this video, he started speaking English, and then 5 minutes after it, I was like, I kind of forgot that he even switched to English because I understood the Spanish so well. So I thought that was pretty cool, and yeah, hopefully have a few more moments like that coming up. Also, another thing with the comprehension I wanted to mention is because my comprehension's pretty good now, I'd say. I can enjoy so much more content. It's way less of a drain on my brain. I can do my 1 hour of input very easily now. It's borderline no effort. Like it's just a part of my day where I sit down and just watch videos in Spanish for an hour. And because I can understand so much, it doesn't feel like studying. It doesn't feel like work. When in the past, it definitely has. I was extremely motivated in the past, so that kind of pushed me through when I might have not been able to watch the most entertaining content because it was more of a beginner model. However, now I just feel very comfortable with the language. Even if I had spare time, I could easily do 3 hours a day. I don't have that time at the moment, but if I did, that would be fine. I just enjoy TV shows. I'd probably mix it up, watch the news or watch some YouTube, listen to podcasts. Like it's fine. I can just kind of enjoy the content now. Obviously, there's still the odd word I can understand and I can't understand. Sorry, but overall, it's very easy to consume the content. I'm not going to lie and say it's the same as watching English content. That's another level of just ease. I don't need to explain, but I understand everything that's happening when I watch English stuff, obviously. But I think it's getting to the point where I could see myself where it's just as easy as watching something in English, whether it's in Spanish or English. I hope I get to the point where it really doesn't matter. I enjoy both at the same level. Whether that's 1 year away or 2 years or 3 years, I'm not sure. But I can definitely start to feel like it's going that way in that direction, which I think is really good news. So I'm looking forward to the day that comes. But yeah, definitely feel like I'm slowly getting there. Thing that Mike Ben spoke about with the interview I did with him, he said he can just chill out and watch Spanish videos or movies or TV shows, and it's just like English. There's no drain to doing it. He could do that all day and just relax, and there's no worries. So that's sort of given me motivation that I can get to that point. It is actually realistic. So I really look forward to that, as I said. Now, in terms of speaking, I've still been doing the odd italki lesson here and there. Haven't been doing it too much, just because I sort of just haven't been bothered. So I'm sure I'll get back to doing them more on a consistent basis, because it probably is good for me to practice my speaking. I think that's the thing that probably lets me down a fair bit at the moment. But I still, every time I do an italki lesson, I do feel more comfortable, even though I haven't been speaking a lot. So I think that's still a good sign. And yeah, I can always understand the teacher when they're speaking to me usually, so that's not a problem. And that really helps with speaking, because it takes the pressure off, like trying to focus too much on what they're saying. But in terms of speaking, another thing that I've been practicing is, well, I haven't done it that much. I just tried it the other day, but the Chat GPT, they have an option where you can use your voice to speak to Chat GPT on your phone. I didn't actually know you could do this till like 2 days ago, but you can pretty much have a conversation with the AI voice on your phone. And it's pretty quick. It's not perfect. However, I think it's a really good tool. Like, obviously, it's not as good as speaking to a native speaker, but it's definitely that could be something that could be used, I think. In addition to obviously having your comprehensible input and maybe your italki teacher, or speaking to a native in person as well. But I think, and that's only going to get better. Like, I think that could really change the game, just to get that speaking practice in. And I think the little I've done of it, I've really enjoyed, because there's no pressure. You're not speaking to a real person. There's no need to worry about making mistakes. There's no need to worry about judgment or embarrassment. So I think it could be a really good tool. I might even include a little example of how I've been using it. So I might chuck that in now, and for everyone to have a watch and see how I've been using it. Hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Es posible hablarme en español?
Hola, claro que sí. Podemos hablar en español. ¿Cómo estás?
Muy bien, muy bien. Ahora estoy aprendiendo español. Mi nivel es intermedio.
Qué bueno saberlo. ¿Qué te gustaría practicar hoy? Podemos hablar sobre diferentes temas para ayudarte a mejorar tu español.
Bien. ¿Algún tema está bien conmigo?
Por supuesto, podemos hablar sobre cualquier tema que te interese. ¿Qué te gustaría discutir hoy? De voorstel jakkers. Tú sí.
Tal vez el tema de aprendiendo nuevos idiomas es un buen tema, específicamente por una persona aprender un idioma.
Por supuesto, aprender un nuevo idioma es fascinante. ¿Qué te motivó a empezar a aprender español?
No sé exactamente, probablemente porque es un buen idioma aprender por viajar.
Totalmente de acuerdo. El español es muy útil para viajar, especialmente en países de habla hispana. ¿Has tenido la oportunidad de practicar español en algún viaje que hayas hecho?
Now, in terms of reading skills, I haven't really read much at all. I'm not really much of a reader. I do try to read a little bit in Spanish here and there when I can. But yeah, I just sort of been busy and haven't really been bothered. But I do still think my reading comprehension has gone up, even though I haven't actually been reading a lot of books. Whether this is from just being on YouTube in Spanish, my phone's in Spanish. Sometimes I'll read the comments in the YouTube section in Spanish. Like those little things, I think they all add up to have better comprehension, if that makes sense. And obviously, just consuming the language as well through comprehensible input. Also, I think that's going to add to comprehension reading as well. So I think that's probably why it's gone up. Well, I think it's gone up, my reading comprehension. So the reason I know this is because I picked up Rich Dad Poor Dad the other day. I was just sitting on my desk and I was just flip through a few pages, see how I'm tracking, and I was like, my reading comprehension definitely hasn't gone down. If anything, it's gone up. So that's good. I'm looking forward to the point where reading's another thing that I sort of struggled with, a bit like speaking, just because I haven't done it a lot. So I'm looking forward to the point I can properly read a book and just enjoy it for what it is, sort of where I'm at with my input at the moment through listening. So I'm sure I'll get to that point, but yeah, not getting too worked up over not doing it too much. I'll sort of just do when I feel like it, I think. So yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to cover in this video. As I said, just a little update on where I'm at and how everything's going with my Spanish. So I hope everyone enjoyed that, and I'll be sure to get out another video soon. Cheers.